Karma is an important concept in Buddhist philosophy, referring to the relationship between human actions and the results they receive. Karma are the actions, words, or thoughts that each person creates, while result is the consequence or outcome of those actions. There are many types of karma, such as good karma, which brings good results, bad karma, which leads to bad consequences, definite karma, which has ripened and will certainly bear fruit, and indefinite karma, which is unclear and can change depending on other factors. This means that our future lies in our own hands, not in the hands of an external powerful being, not determined by fate, but in how we think, how we feel, and how we act each day. The Buddha clearly said that if we sow good seeds, we will reap good fruits. If we sow the seeds of harm, suffering will come. Even the Buddha cannot save us from the consequences of the actions we ourselves create. Therefore, each person is the master of themselves. This is true not only for humans, but for all sentient beings, down to the smallest creatures. But humans have a special advantage. We have a mind capable of understanding. Thanks to this ability, we can observe ourselves, adjust ourselves, and transform ourselves. This is the foundation of every path of practice. So, when it comes to happiness or suffering, we do not need to look for causes too far away, but rather look at how we use our mind. If the mind is not tamed, if it is swept away by anger, greed, jealousy, then not only do we suffer, but we also inadvertently cause suffering to others. On the contrary, when the mind is trained, when we learn to recognize and transform negative emotions, happiness is no longer something distant. Mastering the mind is happiness. Not mastering the mind is suffering. There are 3 types of retribution in the law of cause and effect: immediate retribution, next life retribution, and delayed retribution, each with different timing for receiving the results. Immediate retribution occurs when the result of an action appears in this current life. For example, lying causes an immediate loss of trust. Next life retribution happens in the next life, such as when a person does good deeds but does not see the results in the present life, instead receiving blessings in the next life. Delayed retribution occurs after many lifetimes, with the results appearing in future lives. This distinction helps us understand that not all actions receive results immediately. It also depends on the type of retribution that the action generates. Karma is formed from 3 main sources: body, speech, and mind. Every action, word, and thought of a person contributes to creating karma, directly affecting the present and future life. The important thing is that humans are the masters of their karma, deciding for themselves and taking responsibility for the consequences they create. The Buddha used countless different methods to guide sentient beings to transform their 3 karmas, because the human mind is very diverse. But the core remains one thing. It is because of ignorance that we suffer, and because of understanding that we are liberated. When we do not see the true nature of things clearly, we grasp, we react, and we bind ourselves to suffering. When we cling too tightly to the self, we begin to see everything as if they exist independently and fixedly, opposed to us. We divide the world into friends and enemies and let desire and anger grow with that perspective. Let us remember the life of the Buddha. The important thing is not to honor him as a superhuman figure, but that he had the ability to realize the potential for enlightenment within himself. The Buddha was once a human being with suffering, confusion, and searching. That is what makes his path close to us. When we understand that enlightenment is not reserved for a few, we begin to live differently. We become less self-deprecating, less blaming, and less reactive out of habit, so that each day becomes an opportunity to practice without waiting for special conditions. And if today we can pause a little to see where our mind is leaning, then the Dharma truly is present, not outside, but right in that very small choice. From there, the path continues to open up, very real through the way we are living. And when looking more deeply into those very small choices, we begin to see an important thing clearly. Karma is not punishment, but the learning process of life. Every action leaves an imprint, not to condemn us, but to show us clearly the connection between how we live and the results we are experiencing. From the Buddhist perspective, the storehouse consciousness is where the seeds are stored, meaning the seeds of experience, habits, and potentials of each individual. The process of accumulating and developing these seeds occurs continuously over many lifetimes, creating differences in abilities and personalities among individuals. Each person possesses unique seeds, creating different capabilities and strengths. Therefore, how we think, speak, and act shapes the kind of person we become. No one stands outside arranging this. We are creating ourselves day by day. This is both very strict and very compassionate. Strict because no one can live our life for us. Compassionate because there is always the possibility of changing direction. No matter what the past was like, the present still exists. And in the present, we can always plant a different seed. If we understand karma correctly, we will no longer live in fear, but live with responsibility. Responsibility is not a burden, but the dignity of being human. It means that this life has meaning because each of our choices carries weight. When we understand this, we become very careful with our motives. Two people may do the same thing, but their inner results are very different. One does it with a competitive mind, the other with a caring mind. Outwardly the same, but the seeds planted in the mind are completely different. And those seeds will determine each person's future. In modern life, we often pay too much attention to external results and forget the inner process. But if the inner process is full of tension, anger, and fear, no matter how good the results are, happiness will be very fragile. I also want to note that karma is not just a personal matter, but a collective one. A society is formed by the repeated thoughts and actions of many individuals. If each person nurtures fear and suspicion, that society will be full of insecurity. If each person tries to hurt less, that society will have a chance to be more peaceful. Therefore, when we practice, do not only think about benefits for yourself. Expand your perspective to the community, to the people you interact with every day. A more patient attitude, a gentler word, a decision that causes no harm, all are very concrete practices of good karma. And then, very naturally, we will see that transformation is no longer difficult. It happens in very ordinary things, in the way we listen, in the way we wait, in the way we accept that others are also learning like us. Deeper still, this reminder is not to become perfect, but to live mindfully with what is happening in the mind. When a selfish thought arises, just see it. When an angry reaction begins, just recognize it a little earlier. That very recognition is already a great transformation. Mindfulness is not a technique, but an attitude. An attitude of willingness to look straight ahead, without avoidance, without justification. We no longer need to pretend that we are better, but allow ourselves to be learning. And when we allow that, the mind begins to soften. This softening is very important. In daily life, when we are softer, we react less automatically. We have more space to choose, and it is precisely in that space that karma can be redirected. This directly relates to how we understand merit. Merit is not something accumulated externally, but an inner transformation. When the mind is less greedy, less angry, less deluded, that is merit growing without needing anyone's recognition. Without anyone seeing it, the mind itself knows. In today's social context, where people are easily caught up in judgment and condemnation, this practice becomes even more necessary. If we only see others through their faults, we will easily close ourselves off. But when we remember that everyone is influenced by countless conditions, understanding will find a place. I'm not saying we must accept all wrongful behavior. We still need wisdom to distinguish right from wrong, but distinguishing does not mean hatred. We can disagree, not support, yet still maintain inner peace. This is a very difficult but very necessary balance. It does not call us to withdraw from the world or find peace elsewhere, but calls us to stay with a trained mind, a consciousness that knows how to look deeper and knows that every reaction is a seed. If today we can sow at least one such seed, a seed of awareness, then this day has not passed in vain. Not many are needed. Just one seed is enough to remind us that the path to enlightenment is not far away, but is opening right in each very ordinary moment of this life. And when that seed of awareness has been sown, we begin to feel something very different. Quietly, understandingly, and with more compassion, true practice makes us less harsh with ourselves and others. Not because we loosen discipline, but because we understand more clearly the conditions of suffering. So, transformation does not happen through pressure, but through the light of understanding. When the light is present, the darkness retreats on its own. There is no need to fight the darkness, just light a lamp. And every time we recognize an old habit, even if it does not change immediately, that light has already been kindled. I also want to say that this inner gentleness does not make us weak. On the contrary, it gives us great endurance. A person who knows how to turn inward to support themselves will not easily collapse in the face of difficulties. They may be slow, but they do not give up. And it is precisely this persistence that is lasting strength. In a community, this is also very important. When we judge less, we create space for others to change. No one grows better in fear. People only truly change when they feel understood and have the opportunity to start over. Therefore, in this part, I just want to emphasize one thing. Practice making our hearts softer, not harder. If the heart is soft, the mind has a place to stand. Otherwise, no matter how much one understands, the path becomes heavy.